Show us what you got.
Program activated.
This week, the Marthythians watched the fantastic film, A Fantastic Fear of Everything, released in 2012, starring Simon Pegg. They listened to the 2007 album Come Now Sleep by As Cities Burn, and they imbibed in a little bit of Jalapeno Cheddar Cheetos.
Hologram program activated.
We did not drink the Cheetos. We
Cheetos.
crushed them up and snorted them a little bit, but
I pureed them.
Ooh. I think
Suck
that
them back.
part of their charm was the fact that they were crunchy.
Noisy bag here.
Noisy
Should have
bag,
opened those
crankle
before
it.
we started.
Just go for it. Just go all in.
oh, it's happening. There it is. Yes.
I felt that the color of this bag really helped portray the color of the taste of the food, because it tastes like those colors, and I don't mean that as a bad thing.
Yes.
How does something taste like color?
It just feels like that is the kind of jalapeno, and that is that really over-processed orange, the super saturated orange is
It tastes
the
like
nacho
orange.
place.
Well, it's interesting that you say that is the jalapeno. I'm starting to feel
The
like
jalapeno flavor.
yeah, but I'm starting to feel like jalapeno flavor in processed foods like this just means that it's hot. Because I don't taste jalapenos specifically.
I
out
didn't
of it.
find them hot.
No, I don't find them hot either. Most things where they're like, oh, this is spicy, I find them mild at best, but I just didn't get a distinct jalapeno flavor out of it.
I think that the jalapeno flavor in most things isn't really hot. I think that they just try to make it taste like a jalapeno pepper, but it's not a good jalapeno pepper. Like, I don't really like the processed jalapeno flavor. Like, I like it when you have it fresh in things, but that processed jalapeno flavor, not a big fan.
I find it distinctly different if you're just eating a jalapeno.
Versus something that's flavored jalapeno?
Yeah.
Is that a joke?
No, it's not a joke.
Okay.
If you're just eating jalapeno, it doesn't taste the same as processed jalapeno.
I feel like that's the principle
Not remotely.
of flavoring. Like, I don't think, especially fruit flavoring, and we've talked about this before,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't, purple. Especially fruit, it tastes like colors, because that's easier to market. But even like strawberry flavoring, real strawberries don't necessarily have a distinct super taste. They're a lot more refreshing and kind of watery based, but a strawberry flavored thing is just all over the place.
Yeah.
So simulated flavors, I don't think.
I don't know. I had some licorice not too long ago that was strawberry licorice, and it was just natural, all natural.
Strawberry licorice.
So they squished some strawberries onto some licorice?
I guess.
I
yeah.
hope so.
I mean, there's no sugar added or whatever. I don't know. It was
Like hippie licorice?
like hippie licorice.
Where'd you get this hippie licorice?
I don't know.
Some
I want
hippies
some
were
hippie
making it
licorice.
in
Store.
a bucket.
Some store. But it was it was good. You know, normally you eat things like that, and it's just this burst of flavor, like you say.
Yeah.
But this wasn't. It was really subtle. You almost didn't taste the strawberry immediately.
I would like that.
And then it comes to you, and it was so much better, but it tasted distinctly like strawberries to me, as opposed to like if it
Strawberry
was
flavor.
Twizzlers strawberry flavored sugar blast licorice. And so that, anyways, in regards to the Cheetos, that's kind of how I felt about the jalapeno, is that it more or less just meant that it was a little spicier than a normal Cheeto. And why bother putting cheddar on the pack?
When they're
all
fucking
cheddar.
Cheetos. Yep.
All Cheetos are cheddar.
Maybe just so nobody thought that it was only pepper flavored, you know?
Right. There are dumb people out there.
If you have to put warning, caution, hot coffee, then you need to say there's still cheese with jalapeno.
Right.
And actually, going back to your thing about the strawberry flavor on the Twizzlers versus the hippie licorice, I think that kind of shouts back to our talk about chocolate. You know, people aren't raised with a pedigree of gourmet chocolate, so all candy bars, you know, they're maybe 30% cocoa and then 70% chocolate flavoring / milk
and
ingredients.
whatever else they shove into the candy
Exactly,
bar on top of that.
To make it
exactly. Whatever
cheaper.
they're cutting it with. Exactly.
I find it interesting because you call them candy bars.
I only do in this context.
Yeah, because otherwise you just say a chocolate bar, right?
Yeah, but I want to make a distinction between good quality chocolate.
Chocolate.
Oui.
Chocolat.
Oh, chocolat. Compared to a candy bar. I mean, nobody gives a shit if their O. Henry bar is robed in 100% organic fair trade grade coffee that's totally legit and handcrafted by people who give a fuck about chocolate.
You think they'd pay more for that?
I think somebody would.
Organic O. Henry?
I might, actually. I would be interested to do a side-by-side comparison.
Yeah.
But I love an O. Henry bar.
They'd end up charging like twice as much for it.
At least twice as much.
Cheetos.
Organic
How
Cheetos.
could you even?
Organic Cheetos with real jalapeno bits.
Like dehydrated jalapeno
I don't really
bits?
like these. I don't.
Why not? That would
Could
probably
you-
be more realistic.
What if you dehydrated jalapeno bits and then like you ground them in a mortar and pestle to make it like a jalapeno powder?
Yeah, you know what I do appreciate about these Cheetos, though, is that they do have little green spots on them, which that's a touch they really didn't have to put in since it's fake anyways, but they gave you those little green
That
spots.
visual,
the
that
visual.
thing.
What do you
it
think the
helps,
odds
yeah.
are that the little green spots are the jalapeno versus it's just jalapeno dust in the cheddar dust?
There's no way to pick one off and find out.
You think that they're
I
just
tried.
for show?
Let me see the bag. Let me see the bag.
I ate a giant bag of these on my, like I did all of my prep on my way back from camp.
You just huffing
No,
in
that's
a
exactly
giant
what
bag of
happened.
them,
Yeah. Like we got ice caps and a bagel, and I just inhaled that. I was starving, and then I ate half a bag of those.
It says jalapeno pepper.
Ooh,
Real jalapeno.
Jalapeno pepper is an ingredient.
Oh, they don't fuck around.
Way below monosodium glutamate.
well, that sounds about right. How else would we know it tastes good?
I'm just mad that because the Flamin' Hot ones are so much better in my opinion, and they're way spicier.
Do they have what is their flavor?
I don't know.
It's just cheese that's hot?
It's red, like they're kind of like reddish orange. So the flavor is just hot. But
To be honest, I'm not too sad that I didn't get those because my plan was to eat the Flamin' Hots with spinach dip. My husband makes a killer spinach dip.
ooh, dip them in spinach dip. Ooh,
Or like a nice dill sauce.
yum! I would eat that. But the Flamin' Hot ones, I did hear also that apparently they're being banned in schools in the States anyway. What I read.
They're too hot.
Because kids are eating them and giving themselves making themselves sick, like diarrhea and
kidding me?
ulcers and stuff. Yeah, and I mean they're not super like habanero ghost pepper hot or anything. I guess these kids are just eating too much of them.
Maybe they just don't have the stamina for it if you're so used to eating
Must not be in the
white
Mexican.
starches. I would have assumed that kids were like grinding them into powder and sticking their hands in each other's eyes.
Oh, like weaponizing them.
Crotches.
Or like whipping it into someone's face, like sand in your face, but like flaming
sand.
hot Cheeto powder,
Yeah.
which would be more likely to be in your pocket.
Yeah,
Blowing it off their hands.
fairy dust. It burns.
That's good.
They're pretty good though. They're satisfying. I find
Surprising.
them more satisfying than just standard Cheetos personally.
Yeah?
Are you
But
not a
Because
Cheetos
they got
fan?
more going on.
yeah, I like a spicy thing, even if it's not distinctly jalapeno
Legit
flavor.
pino.
Right.
Yeah. It's still
Legit pino.
spicier than the other ones, and I enjoy that.
What is your favorite type of cheese flavored snack, like Cheetos or Hawkins Cheesies or
They are cheesies. with a Z.
Cheesies?
Yeah.
Z's.
I don't like the Hawkins
Hubs
ones.
loves cheese.
They're-
Hawkins.
I love Hawkins. Those are the best.
Something about them.
They're too hard.
Yes, that's the
Way
best.
too stiff.
Are you guys serious? That's adorable.
They're way too stiff.
Too stiff.
I
You like
like
the
how
stiff
crunchy.
bits.
I like when you get those like bottom bits where they're just balls of crunch.
You like the hard, stiff bottom balls?
Yeah.
Hard, stiff
Gotcha.
bottom balls.
Gotcha.
I don't know. If I'm gonna eat them, I'll eat the puffed ones, but I don't prefer.
You like the packing peanut over a crunchy one?
It's not really my kind of snack. Like I probably only eat them in a situation like this where it's here, try these, or it's the only thing on the snack
Yeah.
table at the place that I'm at, and then I'll go, okay, yeah, I'll eat them. But I'm not.
What is your
I'm not a
preferred
big fan
snack
of them.
period? Do you have a favorite junk food?
Ooh.
No, that's a weird thing because I think the older I get, the less I care to have sweets. The
These
older
are
I
sweet.
Dude,
though.
those
These
aren't sweet
savory.
though. Any junk food.
it's like. Yeah,
It's still sugary, carb, refined bullshit, but that doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily make it sweet. I wouldn't
think-
say that's a rainbow chip ahoy.
I'm not a big chip fan. Maybe chocolate covered peanuts. Maybe
Bought those too.
I
Salty
like
and
Lacets.
sweet. I love it.
No, not salty.
What? Peanuts are salty.
But they're not salted peanuts.
Oh, just you don't like salt?
They don't salt them and then cover them in chocolate.
I wish they did. That would be so much better. What?
No, I wouldn't eat them. I wouldn't eat those peanuts.
I have a snack that I make that I'm going to bring in for you and see what you think about that.
That you make?
Pizza Pops, corn dogs.
I don't remember the last time I had a corn dog.
Yeah,
like a pogo? Like a one from a box that you just stick in the microwave till it's soggy?
There's the farms ones, like the ones you get at the fair that are actual, because the problem is the pogos don't really have that strong like cornbread flavor.
Yeah.
And I don't want a breaded hot dog. I want a corn dog, a hot dog covered in cornbread.
Cornbread.
I guess I've never had that. I've only ever had a pogo, because at the fair, I would never think to get a corn dog. I don't get like entree style food at a fair. If I'm at a fair, I'm getting like a big ass bag of cotton candy.
You're not sitting down at a table with a candle at the fair.
No, but I did one time go to like a Lions Rotary Club booth, and I got that taco salad in a bag, and I had a bite, and it was just so good that I did sit down at a table, and I totally ignored my company, and I was just enthralled with this taco salad in a bag. It was just like the highlight of my life.
You actually had to sit down.
I did. I was almost swept off my feet by the amazingness of this taco salad in a bag.
I think it's meats and stuff, if I could just have pulled pork on hand, or like Montreal smoked meat or something. Mm-hmm. I always will take meat and potatoes over like junk foods and sweets. Like people wait for dessert. They're like, I'm gonna have some pie at Thanksgiving after I eat my turkey, and I'm like, I'm gonna have dessert. I'm gonna have more potatoes, gravy, and turkey.
That's not dessert. That's just round 2.
That's just
yeah. I'd rather have round 2, 3, 4, or 5 than a slice of pie. I just
I gotta have that dessert. Gotta have like a slice of apple pie.
That's why you're larger than me, Mitch.
Well, I'm not denying that.
I would be happy with just like a square of chocolate, because right as I'm clearing out my plate, I'm immediately like the back of my mind is like sweet food. Where's that fucking chocolate?
Really?
That one.
Do you think we're programmed to do that because dessert, like it's?
No, it doesn't have to be dessert. It just, I guess it is if I'm having a sweet after dinner, but it doesn't need to be like a whole course. It doesn't need to be anything really. I can just, if I had just finished dinner before coming here, I would have been sucking on a piece of chocolate on my way here, just to kind of, I feel like it rounds out my palate.
Sucking on a piece of chocolate?
So why would I just chew, if I'm only going to have one square, why would I just chew it down like a fucking horse?
You gotta enjoy that piece of chocolate.
Yeah.
I chew everything. You ever have wintergreen mints? Those like pink patty shaped ones? Those are my favorite mints. That's a good snack for me. I could down a giant bag
like
of those.
The chocolate, like a junior mint?
No.
They're like pastils.
They kind of look like urinal cakes.
Oh,
I can't think of how you would. They're chalky almost.
They are chalky.
Okay.
Most people will suck on those things. I'll crunch them down, powder them up, and throw 4 more in. I can eat those things like crazy.
Gross. Just got to give you a jawbreaker. See if you can crunch that.
Oh,
probably not.
No, in my house growing up, sweets were few and far between, so you learn to savor them. If we had ice cream, it was like a third of a cup of ice cream. That's
what you got. Tiny little bit.
It was. And you didn't just go, spoon? That's all. You'd have like the tiniest half spoons, when you would just enjoy it and savor it. And that's why I'm a slow eater. I'm always the last person to be finished eating when I go out with a group, because I take so long to get it down, because I'm enjoying all that shit, as opposed to just
everyone's waiting around for you.
Nobody goes out with me, just my husband, so I'm not too worried.
Split.
Hey man, I'm usually buying, so fuck yourself.
I'm gonna enjoy this banana split, so fuck you.
My grandpa and I used to have he called them horking contests. Horking,
like fastest eating contest.
Oh, like who can hork down this food the fastest?
That's not fun.
And so we'd sit there. No, but I kind of always eat that way, and that's why I get round 2 or 3. And then when I'm done round 2 or 3, I'm like, holy shit!
Then it catches up with you.
I don't know how I fit so much into my body.
Well, and that's what I always want to avoid. I've had enough of those, overfilled days to know that I would rather take twice as long to eat what I know will fit in my stomach than be suffering after overdoing it.
It makes for a good nap, though.
It does. The food coma?
Yeah.
Oh, the thanks.
I just gonna lay down here.
That usually only happens to me on big holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving, but when it does, that's a good feeling.
Speaking of sleep, Come Now Sleep. How did you guys feel about this album?
How did you feel about this album, Aaron? I know how you felt about this album.
Yeah, I love this album, but how did you feel about it?
How did I like how she strategically fills her face with booze?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I mean, he's a fantastic writer. I mean, there's no two ways about that. He can just the poetic style of his writing is interesting.
It is all just written by one. There's a designated songwriter in this band. It's not.
I think so.
Collective effort.
The singer?
I think more or less the lead singer, Cody Bunnett, is the songwriter primarily.
I found some of the notes on this band ambiguous. Is TJ not with the band anymore? But
No.
it was?
Yeah, so
then why is he... One second. Continue.
Basically what happened was TJ and Cody, who are brothers, they started, the band was going, they had an album before this one called Son, I Loved You at Your Darkest.
Yeah.
Which was just a
Heavier, right?
Yeah, it was hardcore. It was... Most people who know the band would say that it was way, way heavier. And then TJ left, and Cody and some of the other guys, they were just going to shut it down, but they decided to continue. But they wanted to go more of in an indie rock route with
It's the same singer, though, isn't it?
Well, it's...
Same clean vocalist. TJ did the screaming.
But he's still listed as current members. He's still listed.
Because he is now. They released an album after this.
So this
and then
is
they
the
broke
album
up.
where he wasn't in it.
No, there's 2 albums where he wasn't. The first album, TJ was in it.
Uh-huh.
Albums 2 and 3, TJ was not in it.
And since album 3, they've regrouped.
Since 2009, they regrouped in 2015, I think. So
They took a hiatus.
They were on a 6-year. Well, they were done as far as they were concerned, and now that they're
From
back.
From 2009 on.
Yeah, and then they released 2 tracks in 2015, I think it was, and they haven't.
They didn't
done
put an album.
Since.
Oh,
no, they didn't do an album.
they're just
But
teasing
they
the
did
fans.
Come back together. Yeah, July 2015, they added a new song to their YouTube channel called Goldmine. So last summer, they did the 2 things.
Yeah. So, Come Now Sleep was very much a change in direction for them.
Right.
But I love it because compared to some of the other albums we've done so far, lyrically, there's some actual depth in it. He's dealing with philosophical ideas. He's dealing with heavier struggles that are sort of beyond himself. He's dealing with it's heavy. Lyrically, it's really heavy. And there's a hell of a lot of meat in it. So that's one thing that I loved about it. And musically, each instrument, to me, when the guitar is as expressive and as much a vocalist as the vocalist is. The guitar is unreal on the album, I think.
I loved that. I guess that probably was my favorite thing about the album was the guitarist and the instrumental. On that last song, Timothy, where it's 13 minutes long and 8 of it is probably just a guitar jam. That I was just kind of in the zone on that song. That was really good. And I could find myself go back and you can read the lyrics and you can try to pick, even though it is overtly Christian and being that they're all Christians, and that's not the only thing to take away from it, I think.
Well, yeah, you say that too, and you're right. They are Christians, but I think a lot of the lyrical content is faith struggle. So it's not necessarily, in my opinion, from that aspect, it's not praise and worship Christian music.
No.
It's life is fucking hard.
It's good Old Testament toiling music.
Well, there is toil.
There's some struggle there.
There's struggle there. Yeah. There's a lot of philosophy going on.
Right. It's not just praise Jesus. Right. Your traditional.
No kumbayas.
No kumbayas.
No kumbayas were had.
Yeah, no. It's pretty dark stuff. And actually, if you listen to the other albums that they did, a lot of their lyrical content is really kind of about kind of fucked up situations. Like parental abuse and stuff like that. It's pretty dark. It's pretty dark stuff. They're Christians, but it's not lacking its darkness. And then I think that's what makes it real. as opposed to if I picked, Wow Hits 2015, which I never would because I wouldn't listen to it either.
I don't know.
I think if you picked like Now Hits 5, that might be a little bit more nostalgia oriented.
Oh yeah,
Now Hits, but I said Wow Hits.
Wow,
praise and worship.
Oh, that's nice.
It's the top
nice.
praise and worship hits of the year.
Well, it's nice that everybody has a little niche part.
Yeah, it's not really my thing.
It does have a really good production quality, though. I never listened to any of their other albums. I think this is literally the only album I've probably heard by these guys, and I have listened to it before a little bit. Never actually sat down and kind of took it in as a whole.
The whole thing.
Yeah, but I did like. I'm a big fan of that kind of post-rock sound, almost ambient sound, and I did really like his guitar tones and stuff. I thought that was really good. The amp, like everything about the sound, I really liked personally.
So, and because you seemed so cautious to say what you felt about it.
Really?
Well, you seemed like it. Meg certainly seemed like it.
To seem I
said, what did you think about the album? And you guys immediately are going, your collar's away from your necks, like you have some scathing hatred of it.
I didn't like everything about it. I was getting to the stuff I liked, and then the stuff I disliked after that.
He's trying to Randy himself about it. Okay.
I'm not a big fan of the clean vocals from this guy, to be honest with you. I'm not. I was never a big fan of clean vocals from post-hardcore in general, like Circus Survive and stuff like that, where it's that style of higher clean vocals.
I used to feel like that. My mindset has changed. But.
I don't know. I couldn't. I guess after listening to the whole album through, I was kind of done with that style of vocals. I couldn't do it anymore, but
I couldn't. It's just too much. I just couldn't take it.
What about you, Meg?
I wonder now, after listening to your description, if there was something wrong with the headset that I listened to it on, because I really felt like, and I think...
You didn't like the sounds, the instrumental sounds.
I feel very conflicted about it, because I liked that kind of remote, ethereal ambience that was created in a certain degree. And again, I want to stress that I don't know if it was how I took in this media, because it sounded mixed peculiarly. I mean, I'm no one to say you did this wrong, because when you make an album, you make whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
If you want your whole record to sound like this, baby, it's your record. You don't do whatever you want.
Right.
But I felt like it sounded like there were two people in two separate rooms playing guitar, totally out of sync with each other, and there's no reason, there's no reason not to do whatever you want. There was a lot going on. I felt like there was a lot of layers for me to take in. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I had to listen to it in a whole studio, or if I had it blasting through a stereo versus through a headset, I might have gotten a fuller sound out of it. Mm-hmm. This kind of stuff really isn't my particular bag, but it did create a lot of atmosphere, which I'm always a fan of. I can see why some of the songs that were singles were like This Is It, I think was the lead off.
I always forget to see which songs are singles.
I think it was that one, or that might have been like the first one they put out, or were teasing, or whatever.
Number one on the album? Or
No, it was like the first that they had released.
Oh, I see.
From the album when it first came out. And I think that I can see why that one was, like, some of them were definitely a little bit hooky, but I felt like it all became a little bit formulaic after a while. But I did appreciate how, as far as kind of concept-y in regards to the track listing, going from New Sun to Tides. I mean, they directly reference each other, and I thought that was cool.
Well, and I felt like as you start the album, it starts so very much in doubt, going to the concept theme, because it starts off almost really questioning God, and then by the end of the album, it almost gets into that praise bit without the praise and worship feel.
It becomes a bit more inspirational,
more positive,
I should say.
Yeah.
Do you find that the short instrumental-ish track there is the turn? Because that whole lyric set is about questions. And I mean, then you have New Sun right after that, and it all kind of shifts down from there. New Sun and Tides, those are kind of turned together.
Well, it's a good point, right? Because that's only 8 lines, that whole song.
But the whole track is like 5 minutes.
It says, is your God really God? Is my God really God? I think our God isn't God if it fits inside our head. And it's almost like he's trying to fit it in his head for prior to that. You're right. And then after that,
well, when you come to a certain point and you realize if you believe in that particular religion, it's omnipresent, it's omnipotent, it's eternal. It cannot fit you as a human, as an individual, as a creation. You cannot wrap your head around what you're told the Almighty is. That's the entire
beyond
principle.
Your capability.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, with the feeling, back to what you were saying, where it gives you that, what wraps you up in, what was your term?
Ethereal atmosphere?
Yeah, sure. It has that atmosphere.
I like that.
Yeah, no, I can connect with that. What I love about that is it does give you that atmosphere. It gives you that sort of calm in a way. But then when he does get to the heavy vocals, he really punches it out. And so I got a real feel of emotion out of the album, and I think that's why I connect with it so much, is because at no point on the album do I feel like the vocalist is doing anything but being legit. He's pouring it out. Like the emotion is in no way lacking, and I feel, and back to what I said about the instruments, I feel like the rest of the musicians are doing the same thing with their instruments, and that becomes apparent too. So I feel like emotionally the album is really heavy. Is that not strong?
Is that not part of like the post-hardcore idea though, that you are not confined creatively as hardcore or post-rock would be?
Yeah.
That you have a bit, you're deciding, I like this sound, but I'm not going to be limited by what you say this sound is. If I want to go on a big guitar flourish while it's melodic, while it's being screamed through, that's what I want to do. It's just
whatever you're feeling at the time.
Yeah, but I'm sure you can say that of any genre, but from what I looked at, exactly, but that was more embraced by the post-hardcore genre. And I have a question now. Are the vocals, are they distorted through a processor, or are they 100% clean?
No, there are some moments where there's clearly an effect on his voice.
Because I felt like...
Not throughout, by any means.
Well, and especially during the heavier parts, right? Because I wondered if maybe that was trying to bridge the gap from what I understood their initial record was, having TJ in there for screaming vocals. If you've got a person who usually just does clean lyrics or clean vocals, if you throw an extra distortion effect on top, you're going to add the extra harshness that you can't gain.
I don't think they did.
But that's what I took away from it. And I don't even know anything about this band, but I kind of felt like maybe we're going to fill the gap, or maybe we're worried, not worried, but it
kind of dirties it up a little bit.
And why bother if you're doing something different? But again, if you want to be doing totally different things all in one record, it's your record. Do whatever you want. It's your music to craft how you want.
I mean, they remind me a little bit about Thrice when you talk about how you're not a big fan of clean vocals and post-hardcore.
Right.
Thrice did that with Beggars and I
guess it's kind of
and again they remind me a little bit about Thrice in that sense that what's the lead singer's name? Dustin Kensrue. His lyrics, from my perspective, because I'm a believer, his lyrics are overtly Christian as well. But with Thrice, that doesn't seem to make an impact, and maybe it's because he doesn't say God as much, or he doesn't use words like grace or redemption.
I did notice that a lot in this. I mean, and I'm not against that. I just noticed it quite repetitively in this.
But it gives me that. I'm just saying, it gives me that same kind of feel that later Thrice albums gave me. It's a little more ethereal. It's a little more philosophical. It's a little heavier. It's a little harder. Well, if you're really paying attention to the lyrics, it's almost a struggle in some ways.
You have to listen to it or read it a few times to really kind of comprehend what's going on.
I did exactly that. As I was listening to it, I read through, I would read the lyrics and then wonder, how is this exactly going to come out? And I always find it so interesting to see lyrics written, because it's always a narrow column, and it's only ever 4 words, but you've got this long frame of vocal fitting in these 4 words, and I always find that a little bit interesting.
Like how it's almost written out like poetry almost.
And I think that you can only do it that way.
Right.
And I think you had mentioned this before.
Poetry.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I thought Mitch had been getting at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all.
I'm not totally against. You said I didn't like clean vocals in post-hardcore. I'm not.
Oh, that's what I heard.
No, I don't like this. I guess this higher pitched style of clean vocals.
Oh, it's the style of clean vocals.
Yeah, I mean,
because you did reference Circa Survive, and Anthony Green definitely has that higher
register.
I used to feel like that. I'm with you on that, because for a lot of years I listened to Circa Survive and stuff, and I was like, I hate that whiny vocal. Coheed and Cambria.
I was just going to say,
and I still can't listen to them.
Yeah.
And that's, I always kind of had 30 Seconds to Mars always struck me as that, because even though his voice isn't particularly whiny, he just always
that style of sing comes across a little whiny.
He just seems like he's always whining. That's what he said. It just sounds like he's always whining.
He's like such a tragic rock star, he's got so many hard things going on.
Yeah, like I don't want to listen to Blink-182 do that vocal style with post-hardcore. Like, I'm with you on that, but I think over time certain vocal styles, like Aaron Weiss from Me Without You, and
those
Cody Barnett
unique styles almost,
and Anthony Green, I started to recognize that they weren't replicating a whiny punk voice. They were just singing in their voice. And their voice happens to be a little bit different. Going back to that exact same thing, I fucking hate listening to Axl Rose. And that's his voice.
And that's his voice,
right? A lot of people hate listening to Neil Young, and that's his voice. A lot of people hate listening to Bob Dylan, and that's his voice. I can understand how a voice might get grating on someone, and I was more staunch about that in the past, and I think over time, I think it's because I started to gain, not that you haven't, but I think I just started to look at the voice more as an instrument as opposed to just someone singing.
Okay.
So then you can, I feel like if you look at it more as an instrument in and of itself, and you look at all of the crazy shit you can do with a guitar, you might not like that shit they do with that guitar or whatever.
Right.
But it becomes an instrument at that point, in a way.
I really liked how some of the guitar was so pristine, but so distant. And again, I'm not sure if it was the way that I listened to it, but it sounded kind of like David Bowie's vocals in Heroes. How you've got this sound and you've got the vocal in there, but it's like looking at the narrow end of a tunnel from far away on the highway at night where there's nothing else. You can see the end of it because there's streetlights on the other side, but it's so little and far away. And I think that added more to the atmosphere. And I don't even remember which track exactly it was, because they kind of blended together with their expansiveness and their general tone and the general guitar tone. Like, there wasn't one that had like a really technical breakdown that stood out from everything else. It all kind of ebbed and flowed in a similar way that made it all such a cohesive unit. But I really remember this one part, obviously not well enough to have stopped and been like, what song is this? But it just seemed so foggy.
Yeah,
like
they
a
were
guitar
going for
string
a sound,
in the fog.
and they obviously like that feel. They really got it out of whoever. The producer was Matt Goldman, and just because Mitch.
Yep.
You'll recognize a couple of albums that he also produced, and I think you'll see that connection there. He did Under Oath's Define the Great Line and Lost in the Sound of Separation.
Both.
And those are two albums where he also did Disambiguation.
Okay, so pretty much Define Forward he did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So he, and then he's done a couple Chariot albums, but he's a producer who
he sticks to those
based on those is all. Well, no, he's done a bunch of other stuff, but he's a producer who I think if you look at his work, you know that I feel like he's a producer who's able to capture. He's really good at capturing the sound. He's really good at capturing the feel of what you're going for and creating. Helping it to become that bigger thing, because you know that a lot of bands, they write something, they practice it, and before it's produced, it doesn't sound like
The feeling it creates?
Yeah.
Or the feeling they want?
Right. And it may to them, but a good producer really
can bring that out,
push it over the edge and get that right thing.
Well, it's so easy. You take what the band brings to you, and then you take all of your extra experience that you have being, okay, so you want X, Y, Z, or you want this color palette. Okay, well, you're almost there, but let's do these things to help you out. If we change this over here, or if we adjust this here, or if blah, 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 blah. And I think that's just working as a creative team unit. I mean, that's why I at least would generally advocate for having a producer, because it makes it less internal, I should think. You can concentrate on crafting the best thing that you can with your particular instrument or whatever your delegation is. With having a producer, you can only concentrate on that, versus if a whole band tries to produce a record amongst themselves, it could,
you can
dissolve
get a lot of conflict.
unless
come off the way that you intended.
And you just don't have that objective source, and I think that's a big deal as well. Not to say that a band would always be backstabby or trying to, let's just turn down the guitar a little bit. This bass line can be a little better. Not to say that would be happening, but you're stuck with it because it's your baby. You're just too close.
I can see that.
You're just too close.
Yeah. I gotta say though, I mean, I've listened to this album a bajillion times.
Bajillion. How many zeros is on that?
Bajillion? I don't know. That's a lot.
11.
But the guitar work, I remember the guitar work about as distinctly as I remember the lyrics. Maybe more even so. Like I know when it's coming up, and I'm waiting for that guitar, because the guitarist really does make his guitar sing. Like he really makes it sing. It sounds like more.
There's a part of the guitar that I like. It's almost that point where there's a lot of clean guitar, but when it gets more intense, he almost makes it break up a little bit. Like he'll get to that breakup, and that's almost
a clean solo.
And that's almost to me like how the singer, when he's singing clean, and then he gets into it and it starts to break up into a little bit more of a scream. Yeah. It's almost like that, doing that with the guitar almost.
Sometimes he would play a line where he goes down in the scale, and by the time it reaches the bottom of that scale, it just disintegrates almost, or it just like
it falls apart.
It falls apart in a way. So it's like he's playing the emotion. When you play something like a violin or a piano, and even a guitar, really any instrument, a musician can make it feel a certain way. If you're playing, if a pianist is playing Bach or Handel or something, there's a difference between two pianists. They'll play the same piece, but you'll get a little bit of a different feeling out of both of them, because it might be the pressure that they put on the keys. It might be their use of the sustain or whatever. Yeah. And it's the same with the guitarist. And I feel like he's a master at that, because how he got some of those tones at the right moment, that's an art. When there's a difference between playing a riff and playing a solo that gives you the right emotion at the right time. Neil Young is really excellent at that. Like if you really listen to Neil Young's solos, his solos are absolutely phenomenal, because they carry with them an emotion. But Meg, you didn't seem too keen on it. What didn't you like about it?
It just isn't my particular genre of preference. I don't like the vocal style. I don't care to have both of my ears torn in different directions by technical guitar players. And to hear you guys talk about it, it makes me wonder if it's because I don't have that breadth of knowledge or preference base or history background or technical knowledge. I can't fully appreciate what he's doing because it just sounds noisy.
That's fair.
It's a lot of stuff. And again, it might have been the way I ingested this media. If I were to, tomorrow plug it into a studio, it might come across totally differently. But the way that I took this in, it cultivated a certain sound in my ear that was fine.
Some albums are very much like that, I find, though. Some albums you can put on, and it doesn't matter whether you're listening to them in your shitty car speakers, your shitty earbuds, or a hi-fi stereo system, or whatever it is. In some albums, you can listen to anywhere. Other albums, I feel like I'm doing them a disservice by listening to them on lesser than good quality if I'm playing them on my computer speakers that are built into the computer.
Once you've heard them on good speakers and then you try to listen to them on like teeny earbuds and stuff like that.
If you're introducing someone to it and you're trying to show them on your phone,
it's not the same.
Way.
Oh,
they're never going to capture
That's
it.
The worst.
It definitely sounded a little bit muddy and layered to me, and I've never had that problem listening to music through my headset before, so...
Oh, I can't wait. I've got an album that we're going to do, and my brother always says he hates the production because he says it sounds too muddy. And I'm
really?
But that's what they were going for.
And that's the thing, right?
And he doesn't seem to get it.
You
he
can't...
thinks it should have more production.
It's a Norma Jean album, isn't it?
Of course it is a Norma Jean
But that's the thing,
Coming in a few weeks, friends.
And that's why I keep saying, do your record how you want to do it. I know people who their band, like their whole shtick, their whole sound is it sounding like they're burning out a speaker. Well, they're never going to get
the Chariot.
They're never going to get very far because it doesn't, like I didn't play it at the place I was working because I was like, you need to send me a better copy. This isn't right. So they came down because they were really they were convinced I didn't know what I was talking about, and it's totally fine. And everything's great. You're not doing something right. So we'll put it in, and I was like, it doesn't sound right. No, that's totally what it's supposed to sound like. You want it to sound like you're pushing.
There's a difference between bad production and like kind of garage
that was
production.
Their business,
Well, garage production, we referenced this earlier as Nirvana, right? Nirvana was not, they left errors in. They let it be noisy. They let the amps in a time when in a time when that had not to that date been a recipe for mixing or producing or recording.
It was original then, but now people and that's the thing. It's who are any of us to say that your creative endeavor is wrong?
And who's your audience, right? Who's your audience?
That's the big thing. If you have a sound, if you're doing like extreme metal and you're going 1,000 miles an hour and you want to sound like you're in the red you're past the red, that's your fucking business.
Turned it to 11.
13
wow.
to 15 is what I would say.
Wow.
Also, 13 is the level that my girls and I drink at when we're out in the town. So fucking
13?
Watch it. Oh my god!
That's
like
the
2 times a year, we toast shots to 13, and it's bad.
Sounds evil.
It's so fun.
Back to reference, the Norma Jean reference. Their original lead singer, Josh Scogin.
Yes.
He went on to do The Chariot, and he went on to do 68. And what you're talking about reminds me of that band because The Chariot is fucking noise. Like there's thrash metal, and then there's like The Chariot, which isn't. I wouldn't call it thrash. It's just
a wall, literally
a wall of noise, and I fucking love it. And then he did 68, and this band 68. It's a 2-piece, which blows me away every time I listen to the album. But Josh Scogin talks about how they had these vintage amps in the studio that they were recording in, and he literally drove them so hard that you can hear them breaking apart, like
you can hear
dying.
The tubes popping. You can hear the
you
amp
can hear
falling
them just
apart.
Does that not really lend it to people who appreciate that rawness and that liveness? Like we've talked about this before. I think it was Pup talking about records that sound a certain way versus what they might be at a live show. Like we're recording this as it is, but this music is made to be heard live. Definitely. So if that's what you want to get out of your record, if you want to be able to we're so raw, you can hear the fucking amps break.
But there's a way to do that, and that's where I felt there was the error with Pup, was that they didn't expose their live feeling on the album.
And
I've not
quite
been
come
to a
across.
live show, but that's
I stand by the energy comes out there. Like to me, they're good old boys who got their shit together, but in a more, and I still have a hard conflict of what makes them any better than Sum 41, because we know that Sum 41 was in it. We're calling back to so many old shows today.
Wait, did you say that Sum 41 was having a reunion tour or something? What was that?
Yeah. No, look, talk amongst yourselves and I'll dig it up. Yeah.
But they never quit, I thought was what we Or
what was it?
I think they're putting out a new album.
Right, that's what it was. Almost like a rebooting of Sum 41.
Okay.
This is just going to be an ongoing joke.
Sum 41 announced comeback album.
Comeback
album.
We never left.
They look so smart. Derek doesn't look like a heroin junkie at all.
Oh, wow.
Steve-O's coming down. Look at his poor hair. Who's this asshole? Is this guy new?
I don't know.
Because that's Cone.
The picture's too far away to tell who they are. I mean, Derek doesn't look like a heroin junkie because you can't even see his face. He's looking to the left.
Why do you think he's doing that?
On the
been
camera.
photoshopped.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me.
Pretty sure all of that's for PR.
Yeah.
Derek Whibley had the nose of your 75-year-old alcoholic grandpa when he was 20.
Sum
That
41.
bulbous, pockmarked, red...
Nasty nose.
They've announced their first album in 5 years titled 13 Voices, which is due out October 7th via Hopeless Records. It'll serve as a follow-up to 2011's Screaming Bloody Murder. I'm really excited to be releasing an album after everything I've been through recently, shares frontman Derek Whibley. The new music represents the journey I've been on throughout the process of making this record.
So now we're just Sum 41 PR directors.
I had to fall in order to rise, and nothing feels better than to have something you love and you really worked for. I can honestly say that 13 Voices saved my life, and I cannot wait to share it with you.
And yet we're all aware that when the album comes out, it'll be the same lyrical depth.
Hey, you don't know that.
Hey man, this album cover has a cross on it. Who knows? A cross, and skulls, and dragons!
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Everyone chew a little bit more. I'm chewing with my mouth open. Oh, this is disgusting. Oh, that's...
I dropped under my crotch, but I don't know where.
Disappeared into the
these
void.
don't even get spicy the more you eat. Like,
no, they don't.
If you're eating, like... Because I kind of like those Doritos, the sweet hot ones. What are those? Sweet chili heat, I think. There's some chips where you eat them and they're tasty, but they're a little spicy, and then you eat the whole bag, and by the end you're like, okay, now it's spicy.
You know what the worst part is about Cheetos for me, though? When I eat normal chips and I wipe them on my hands on my pants,
of course,
doesn't leave anything. But when I eat Cheetos, it's just orange. You can't wipe your hands. You got to lick off your fingers, which maybe is the enjoyable part.
I remember in like maybe the early to mid 2000s, there was a Doritos commercial of a teenage boy and girl watching TV, and they were both eating Doritos, and she wipes her hands on the chest of her white tank top and goes away, and then the dad comes home, and she comes back in, and it's the boy on the sofa with a bowl of Cheetos or Doritos in his lap. Yeah.
That's good. That's a good job, guys.
Good job, Doritos.
They noticed the same thing we noticed. Okay, so Simon Pegg, I think, honestly, is a absolutely fantastic...
I'm gonna eat all of these.
Hey, that's fine. Go for it.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic actor, filmmaker, writer.
He's pretty great. Even when the material isn't.
Yeah, I don't think that he didn't write a fantastic...
No, it was written and directed by a rock star.
Crispian.
Yeah. Who fronted a band from the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I like that he's Crispian as opposed to just Crispin Glover.
No, he fronted, I wrote it down, 90s British psychedelic indie rock band Kula Shaker. And then I looked up some of their videos. I'd never heard any of their songs, but they're very English, but almost with an Indian flavor. Like, you got some of those sitars and psychedelic videos and stuff.
So like psychedelic Indian English rock.
Yes. Ish.
I thought the film was good, though.
I loved all the different things happening. The visual textures.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of his, especially when he's in the house, it echoed a lot. That
was my favorite part,
right?
When he was in the house, yeah.
They echoed so much of my own personal anxieties. Being especially alone in my house when I lived alone or when my husband's not there, even when he is there sometimes, if I wake up from a bad dream and I go to get some water, I will actively run from my kitchen and hop into bed.
He did that so well too.
And when he's jumping across and when he runs into the bed, he jumps into the bathroom and dives at the sink, I immediately went, I've done that.
I love
exactly that.
I've done that. Yeah.
I loved how Edgar Allan Poe it was.
It was kind of that dark, brooding kind of
atmospheric.
Totally. They gave you that feel. They gave you kind of like the Raven feel in his not hotel room, in his room,
in his apartment.
Apartment. And he's got his hairstyle even when it's all manic. He's got that kind of classic Poe. He's got the Poe-lengthed hair and
when he was talking to his therapist in pajamas, it was all smooth and clean.
Yeah, he was cleaned up.
It was like the times that I talk about looking for deeper meaning in the movies that we watch. What is the music doing? What are the colors doing? And I definitely noticed his hair as a character.
Ooh, as a kind of a hint to what's going on.
Sort of.
In his mind, kind of thing.
I really loved the different textures of the scenarios brought forth, how there was kind of the little paper cutout action scenes, and how
those were kind of cool.
Like not quite cartoons, but kind of graphics, but then also he and his therapist walking through the paper woods. I thought that was really fantastic.
Because he was a children's book author.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the art was really cool.
Like, all of those things were very, very clever when you think about it. The way he tied that police officer in.
He's so innocuous. He's just around.
He's always there. He's there just after all the shit goes down.
How surprising that it wasn't Nick Frost. Especially after...
No, he hasn't done a lot with Nick Frost, unless it's a Nick Frost, Simon Pegg...
unless it's a joint venture?
Written vehicle joint venture. They don't collaborate together. Yeah. But I loved that, how they tied that in. And I thought the laundromat. Once he got to the laundromat... I mean, I enjoyed everything that led up to it, but once you got to the laundromat, the whole laundromat was so good. How filthy his underwear were. Like, they were... What? Even if they just came out of the washing machine, why would she pick them up? And my only racist presumption can be is that she's East Indian and has encountered underwear like that during her whole
Here we go.
That they were so dirty?
Yeah, they were just brown.
Oh.
What if he just bought them like that?
Nobody buys
his filthy underwear. He was so embarrassed about them too.
Well, understandable.
Yeah, but
especially given the background that apparently he had, I think that would add to the anxiety exponentially.
Yeah,
which I thought was again, this is like the second movie I think in a row, almost third movie maybe if you count High Plains Drifter, which would make it a row, where the ending just made me go, oh, okay,
happy. Yay. I really connected with it at the laundromat, where he's trying to be so natural, like he's trying to fit in,
so
and he's reading the thing, like the steps. Okay, I can do this,
God.
and he's talking himself through it. Like I feel like I've done that in situations where it's new to me, or I'm uncomfortable and stuff, and I'm kind of talking to myself. I'm like, okay, do I seem weird right now? Is anybody looking at me?
It reminded me of like the first couple times that people, when they smoke pot, how you get so paranoid.
Yeah.
Just do this. It's totally fine. Am I doing this? Is it natural? Well, that's what it says to do. But is it really what it says? And this, the way that I'm talking right now, I think that it echoes the paranoia and anxiety that I really felt came across in like the way that they did the camera shots. Like sometimes just the camera techniques were so different when they would kind of swivel around him and like look around the room like it's a fishbowl. You get that when you're just you're white knuckled with fucking terror.
Yeah.
And everything is just like that.
I wanna go back and watch it just to determine when they do the reveal in the laundromat in the mirror, and
with his hair
gone. I want to go back and see, did I see any face-on shots where all his hair was there?
Yeah. I think they hit it pretty well.
Was it just strategically
did they actually
only did show
the one side? Did they actually only show the one side?
Right.
Or...
Well, he did have his just
was
before.
Was it revealed to us at the same time it was revealed to him?
Yeah, because I remember when he did spend a lot. I thought it was weird when he sat down at the dryers, when he sat down where he did, because he sat nestled against the side of the dryers facing the Caribbean woman, and that's how he saw her big bucket-shaped bras.
Right.
But it was the reveal side against the dryer, and when he was standing in front of the washing machine, I just need to stand here for 40 minutes till it's done.
Right.
It was clean side out. So it may have been just, we're not actively we're not showing you the whole face untarnished and then revealing.
Right.
I think that they did actively but subtly conceal it.
Yeah, maybe.
Which I think is a better way to go about something. Well, I don't want you showing me something fake and then going back and being like, surprise! He's got green hair. Well, no, he just had red hair in the last scene. No, we tricked you. No, you didn't. You blatantly lied.
I think it's one of those things where you could probably go back and maybe just catch a glimpse of it and be like, oh, I
gotcha.
Yeah.
Exactly. I really loved how they dropped all the hip-hop in there. That made me so
his
happy.
Gangster rapping.
I loved his gangster rapping.
That was
when he's walking down the street, it is like when you're walking down the street at night and it's just you and you're so like, especially in a big jacket like that and you've got your hand in your pocket, what part of you doesn't want to kind of strut around and get a little bit rough?
Dusting off my AK when he's
adorable.
His own, when he finds the tape, the cassette tape.
His what was it called again? The Voozalicious Gangster Rap Mix or whatever.
And I love when in the middle of the song he comes on at some point
and starts
talking to his girlfriend and he's like, just fucking wrecked it, basically. The girl who became his girlfriend, though, the actress who plays her, Amara Karan, I've only seen her in one other movie, and that's the Darjeeling Limited.
Right, yes.
And she is gorgeous, I gotta say. She's got, sometimes you see East Indian women and they're ridiculous supermodel hot. My impression has always been that it's either they look like these unrealistic kind of just darker complexioned white people that are perfectly put together in their faces.
These Barbie people.
But Amara Karan, she looks just like, in a sense, your everyday East Indian woman, but a very beautiful everyday East Indian woman, which gives her a uniqueness that I appreciate, because my everyday East Indian woman in my head always has a big mole on her forehead with hair growing out of it or something.
Why?
I don't know. East Indian ladies tend to be either stunning or
homely.
Horrid.
There's no middle ground there.
Homely? Yeah, let's be polite. I'll say homely.
Thank you.
Horrid. But she was quite good in the film. I thought she was the only kind of understanding one in the laundromat.
That's true.
And that was kind of satisfying, that somebody actually saw he wasn't
completely
insane.
Yeah, well, he was kind of crazy.
Well, he was insane, maybe, but that he wasn't dangerous, right? Like she recognized that this was, there was something more going on here.
A little unhinged.
I love the heart-to-heart that he has with the cop, too.
I felt like that part, like especially, tell him a story. Yeah, all right, I'll tell you a story. Well, make it short, you don't have a lot of time. Well, no, make it short. Well, I haven't got a lot of time, have I? Well, no, you don't, huh? And just the little head nod. Right. I felt like that short 30-second interval was where it was really a Simon Pegg movie. Right. That's the kind of wink, nudge, nudge that I would expect from it. And that everything else was great, but I just felt it checked that last little hot fuzz Shaun of the Dead box for me, and that's why I kept expecting Nick Frost.
I want to know how that Simon Pegg even got involved with this, like indie British movie.
Do you know what though? Like I think people almost pigeonhole him a little bit because he's
as what?
Because it's Simon Pegg, Nick Frost.
But
Shaun of the Dead. Those are the things that people remember the most.
But he's got a movie out that I've always wanted to see with Andy Serkis. Burgett and Hare, I think it's called. Really? And they're Victorian grave robbers.
Yeah.
It's like a comedy of errors there.
I did see that.
How was I heard it was kind of.
Well, that's what I was about. No, I don't agree, because that's what I was about to say.
But it depends who's reviewing that, right? Simon
Pegg, I think, is absolutely excellent at picking scripts. I think in my opinion, he picks all the right scripts. I have a hard time. I almost think that some of the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost movies aren't as good as some of the other movies that he's
flat out Simon Pegg
roles he's done. I think he's just absolutely excellent at picking the right script.
Even his blockbusters are good, like Star Trek and that Mission Impossible.
He plays Scotty so well. Like Simon Pegg can be Scotty now.
I forget that he's in anything more legit than
Mission Impossible.
That was good.
He's great in
Ghost
that,
Protocol?
too.
Yeah.
You serious? Mm-hmm. Good for it. Does he have any scenes with Tom Cruise?
Yeah, he does.
He's like one of the main characters.
You know what? Good for you, Simon Pegg. I applaud your tenacity to be able to work with Tom Cruise.
He was in 3 and Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, he's a
recurring character.
You lucky fucking duck.
He's a blockbuster actor now.
Damn, Simon Pegg.
He was even in Black Books. Have you ever seen Black Books?
Oh, that's a British comedy, isn't it?
Yes.
You told me to watch that one.
I'll tell everyone to watch it.
BOOKS?
Yeah.
It's a movie called Black Books, and Dylan Moran is he's a comedian, and he did this show in Britain. I think it's available on Netflix.
I don't know.
Let me look into that.
Black Books is probably...
No, it's a TV series.
Yeah, it's a TV series.
You said movie.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
I know it's a TV series. Sorry.
Oh.
I misspoke. But Black Books is glorious. Dylan Moran plays this bookstore owner who's a drunk and a chain smoker, and he's an asshole. And he's the most lovable asshole ever. I associate with it, I think, mainly because
you're a lovable asshole?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Those kinds of characters I appreciate. The lovable asshole.
Welcome to England's most charming bookshop. Never before have the darkest nooks of human misery been this funny.
It's hilarious.
It's also lumped in with a movie from 2006 called Black Book. No hope of escape. A persecuted woman will change her name, her look, her identity, and tangle with the enemy.
That sounds stupid. Watch the TV series.
And also a 2004 romantic comedy with Brittany Murphy. Note to noisy sweethearts, poking in your beau's past romantic history, it's sure to blow up in your face. I want to punch 2 Simon Pegg movies because we watched this one, just to kind of reinforce the idea that he picks such great scripts and does such a good job with the characters he plays. Hector and the Search for Happiness made me tear. So good. The end of this almost made me tear.
Yeah, he has heart. Somehow that guy conveys a level of heart that anyone can relate to. And if you're willing to connect with the heart that Simon Pegg conveys, you'll enjoy anything he does.
I never even realized, I guess, that he had those kind of acting abilities, and even to be
he's so good.
Yeah, like to be in this movie specifically, to be a physical actor, like he was so
especially in the house.
Yeah,
but even the expressions on his face in the laundromat.
Yeah, just everything that he was doing, his actions, his faces. I didn't even. Yeah, I wouldn't have pegged him for that. That's enough out of you.
The second movie that I would speak about is it's a romantic comedy, believe it or not, called Man Up. It's him and Lake Bell, and it's hilarious. It's not a typical rom-com.
Man Up.
Yeah, it's a rom-com. It's not a typical one. It's rated R.
So it might be good.
It is good. It is really good. I quite enjoyed it.
And Lake Bell.
Given my experience with Simon Pegg, I'll pretty much watch anything with him in it.
Oh, I see. It's on Netflix.
Is it?
Yeah,
but,
it is. That's where I saw it.
Hector's not on Netflix.
Netflix, as my nieces say. Can we watch Netflix?
Do you flick them in the neck?
I should. I never have thought about it. Just flick those little girls in their throat. Ow! Oh, can you do that?
I don't think I realized that Simon Pegg was in Paul.
Oh yeah, he was the.
What do you mean?
He was one of the main.
I don't remember anything except Seth Rogen as the alien.
That's him and Nick Frost.
Yeah, it's Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. Oh no,
but it's not part of their trilogy.
What did they call it? Something trilogy.
Who knows?
I liked the last one, At World's End.
At World's End was
was great. Yeah, that was really good.
You know, I didn't like Shaun of the Peg.
Shaun of the Peg.
I didn't enjoy Shaun of the Dead so much the first time I saw it.
At World's End or The World's End, one of those two.
I think that one grew on me. I think it kind of goes
the not
for
Pirates
me,
of the Caribbean movie.
Oh yeah, it's The World's End then. Okay.
For me, it goes The World's End, Shaun of the Dead, and then Hot Fuzz, and I know a lot of people are Hot Fuzz number one.
I'd probably put them in the same order. I think Hot Fuzz was funny, but I think it's third.
Again, I did see this one. It is good.
I love how big of an asshole Simon Pegg's character is in The World's End.
Yeah,
he's just the world's most. He's such an asshole, but you feel bad for him right on the outset.
He's driving the shitty car.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
come on, man. He is such a dink, and it's not
dink.
You kind of you feel sorry for him more than you just think he's a dink. I think.
You think he's a dink?
I think he's a dink. But you feel sorry for him more than you think he's a dink, I think.
You feel... There it is.
Okay, Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss would never say dink.
You don't know that. That could have been like one of those old-timey words that wasn't offensive.
Like pecker?
Like pecker. Wait, I think that was still offensive.
Was it offensive? That's what my grandpa always called it. Never heard him call it anything but a pecker. Get your pecker out and let's see who can pee farther up the tree.
What? Did this actually happen?
Yeah, you gotta... It's a game that you play in the wilderness.
What?
Do you?
Yeah.
This isn't a normal game.
Come on.
Sometimes I like to play chicken with Chris about where he's going to pee
around with that.
No.
You pee up a tree and you see who can reach the highest height, the higher height on the tree.
I feel like the trick of that is to really hold it in.
Women can't do that. One time as a child,
they use the funnel.
My sister...
Again, the trick there is how long you hold it in to get that pressure built up.
My sister, to be unnamed, since I have many, so I don't want to embarrass the one who did this. Mm-hmm. My one sister, as a child, said, AJ, because that's my nickname in my family, or in junior. AJ, come... Look at this. And so I go to she leads me to the washroom, and then she decides she's going to pee standing up like a man, I guess. And the pee just sprays everywhere.
Oh, God.
Everywhere. There's no way to control that stream as a lady standing upwards.
I'm just picturing that scene from Step Brothers where she walks up to the urinal and she's just like, stay golden, pony boy. And just puts a leg over the urinal.
Just puts a leg up on one urinal and pees.
Yeah.
Nah, the towels were covered in pee. I was covered in pee.
God.
The whole place needed to be cleaned of pee.
That's a bad memory.
It was funny. It's funny. It's not bad memory.
No, I guess not bad. Just
a funny one.
Just a funny...
We were young children. It's not...
Oh, this wasn't last week.
No.
Oh.
I was like 4 years old. She was like 6.
Oh, okay.
Look, I can pee like a boy.
Well, that's funnier then.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Jeez, what? He's calling my grandpa a pervert.
I did not.
My sister or some kind of adult pervert.
I just said peeing up a tree is not a normal game.
Yeah, it's like, well, did you ever have sword fights when you were kids?
Well, yeah.
Meg, you're a girl. You're not going to understand these. You shake your head, but... I'm
tapping
you don't have a sword.
Whole conversation.
You don't have a sword, so...
What I would do is probably fill a super soaker.
By the way...
But you never cross streams like Ghostbusters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, a sword fight is with the stream of the pee. It's not with the penis itself. You're not whacking your penis against each other.
Yeah, sure you're not.
On guard.
Oh, no, that's weird.
I'm just sitting back there eating some Cheetos.
I will defend my butthole till the death.
Oh, God. No.
Childhood games.
Now it's rape.
Childhood games. No, that's not how it goes.
No.
It's just peeing.
It's just innocent peeing. Just peeing. How did we get talking about peeing?
European. So, yeah, the movie was good. Everyone thought the movie was good.
I thought that it was good. The performance was good. It was based on a short story, I guess. But
was it?
Yeah, I thought the setting in his apartment was really good, and the laundromat was really good. But then I felt when it went down to the basement and he kind of befriended that cop, I thought that they almost kind of ran out of ideas of where to take it, and it just seemed like this real serial killer. It didn't really work for me personally, but I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious when he came down with the Final Countdown boombox and the 80s glasses.
Oh my God, so good.
That was funny, but just the story itself, I guess, at that point seemed to have run out a bit of steam.
I'm with you. Once they got to the whole, the animated bit was charming in a way.
With his story.
Of the hedgehogs?
Yeah.
Harold the Hedgehog.
Harold the Hedgehog.
And Brian.
But I did feel like at the end, you know, during and after that point is where I felt it kind of... The denouement was dragging a little bit.
Right.
I really felt that almost from the laundromat on. Like, as soon as he realized, I was abandoned in the laundromat.
Right.
Everything kind of...
Yeah.
You know what's weird, though, is that one... Maybe I missed something. Maybe you guys can clarify this for me. But the one lady said... well, you've been here since 8 o'clock or 8 a.m.
I know, 8 this morning.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Maybe he was, like, standing outside the door. Maybe we all misheard. Well, no, it couldn't have been 8.
Was all that stuff going on in his head? Why would she say that? Was she?
He didn't even know to go to the laundromat till his doctor told him. And that looked like it was... He made the call after Claire had told him that he had only an hour and 47 minutes.
Right. And his meeting was in the evening, so he was there at, what, like 7 o'clock or something?
Yeah, because he kept counting down from 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that was about when they said...
I'm not quite sure what was going on there.
Maybe if we had gone back to watch it, that would be something to look for.
I loved when he falls out of the shower and he's laying there like he's dead with his eyes open for way too long. And then he says, basically breaking the fourth wall, "I'm not dead, you..."
Oh, he's yelling at the...
"I'm not dead yet, you motherfuckers," or whatever he says.
Yeah.
"I'm not dead yet, you sons of bitches," whatever phrase he uses.
Yeah.
And he's not looking at the camera. He's basically talking to himself or the hypothetical murderers, right? Because you think he fell on the knife. I thought that was pretty fun.
That was pretty creative.
Because he's basically talking to the audience.
Yeah.
You know, "I'm not dead yet."
And his narration, too, which I really liked.
I love the narration.
Yeah, because it was going on in his head constantly, but once in a while you'd see him, like, mouthing it. So you could tell it's talking to the audience, but he himself is kind of doing it at the same time.
It's a pretty clever film, and that leads me to why I think it was so kind of... The critical reception was not so good. I mean, sometimes it's justified, but I feel a lot of times... films are just too
weird, too out there,
too smart for the average critic.
You
calling the critics dumb?
Well, there's got to be a certain mass consumption mindset for you to be able to make your living off of reviewing / critiquing, which I use to lesser weight.
Yeah, you've got to review and critique
the general output of media. You know, you need to be pretty blasé. You need to be pretty vanilla or oatmeal-y about it.
Unlike us, if you're going to critique a movie and that's critical. Your job, you're going to almost, in a sense, go, will the masses like this? Because if the masses are reading your reviews and they always disagree, you're going to have a niche of people who agree, which is not a career necessarily that makes you an income. So they're reviewing it in a way from the perspective of, hey, are you going to like this?
That's true.
And is this on the fence or not? If it's on the fence, then I can be as critical as I want. Or as positive as I want. Because if this one I know is not going to make money anyways, I may as well just say what I feel.
But then you look at movies like Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, where it got like...
They made a second one?
Yeah. Where
I actually kind of like the first one, to be honest with you.
I've never seen
that. Aside, it got like 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
So it means like 3%.
It can't be that bad. What can be that bad?
But that's what I'm saying. Like you're saying it either has to be on the fence, but to get that few positive reviews from critics, but then to sell so many tickets because the movie wasn't a failure by any means.
Right.
It actually made...
Because people like the first one.
Maybe that's what carried it over. Yeah, I guess.
I'm really curious to see what the new Ghostbusters movie is going to do.
Ooh.
Is all of this negative press actually going to affect ticket sales, or
will it make people go more?
It's probably already out by now, Aaron.
Or will they not go? Is it out?
No, I'm just saying by the time this airs, it will be out.
When does it come out?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because we're going to be like eight episodes delayed.
Yeah.
Or four episodes.
I think it comes out like.
By the
July.
way, everyone, we're 4 episodes delayed. You're listening to the past.
No.
We're past all of this, and so fuck you. We've already dealt with any emotions you might comment with.
This is all coming out.
Yeah, well, I mean, this film was not well reviewed, and it's not like it was going to make a lot of money. I mean, they probably knew that through the outs.
Oh, yeah. It didn't come out in America until 2 years after its British review.
And that would be
British
like
release.
Genre stuff. Like, why would you bring something out just because the people who like it?
Right.
If the people who like it aren't the economic demographic.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never read reviews. I've always been a movie buff in a way.
Never? Like not
read
even
reviews?
Not even about the ones we're talking about and stuff? Or
no,
what?
No, I've never read reviews about the ones we're talking about. I don't read reviews because I really don't give a shit what someone... By the way, everyone listening to this as we review movies, I don't give a shit what other people think about movies.
I like to read them to get some context, because then it helps me form my opinions. Oh, do I agree with that? Well, that's an interesting point. Oh, I see where you're coming from, but I don't agree with that.
I don't care.
It's like peer-reviewed journals. You kind of want to see what other people's like perspective is on it and stuff.
I don't care what you think, Mitch.
Oh, fuck you.
I don't care what you think, Meg. No, I like to have the conversation. I like to... I like to understand why people think what they think in a way, but I like to do that conversationally. A review, to me, is not conversational. You know, so if I'm gonna... No, right. So if I'm going to go watch a movie... I grew up going to a movie every Friday night, so I saw at least one movie a week, and then I saw maybe one or two more at the theater if they were worth seeing, and then I saw I don't know how many more on DVD. I've seen an obscene amount of film.
An obscene amount.
But not obscene.
But the point is, I like sitting here having a discussion about it. I don't like reading a review by Roger Ebert or
I think it depends where you're reading. Like especially for movies that we watch, they're all a little bit off kilt. I always read the IMDb user reviews because the critic reviews it's all paid for speech.
Yeah.
A user review and Netflix is the same way. A user review is more a real person who watched it, someone who isn't paid to spit out scathing thoughts.
But I also want to go in unbiased. I don't want to go into
I wouldn't read it beforehand. No, I would read it like...
Tons of people do. They're like, am I going to see this in theaters? Am I going to watch this on DVD? They read the reviews.
I guess I'm guilty of looking at its tomato meter score before I'll watch it sometimes.
Oh, see,
I don't understand how that works.
They take all the critics' reviews and then they basically see which ones are positive, which ones are negative, and then give it a score out of 100%.
And is it better to be high or low?
High.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I have a buddy who he'll look at a movie and be like, I've got fucking 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, and he won't watch it.
No, I won't do that.
And I'm like, I don't care what anyone else thought about it. If it looks interesting to me, I'll watch it. But then again, like I say, I mean, some people have time to watch a movie a week, and I'm getting closer to that point, being a family man and all, but I've watched a fucking shitload of movies, so I'll watch almost anything. I mean, I'll watch almost anything, even if I hate it. And I don't think I've ever turned off a movie or walked out of the theater.
Whoa, really? I've turned off a movie.
Like you'll watch it all the way to the end and then decide if you hated it?
I could hate it in the first 10 minutes and think this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen. And I fucking hate this garbage.
That's admirable to give your full attention for the entire movie.
But I think things deserve that. Like Meg often talks about albums that way where people
put their heart into it. And
they put their heart. It's hard for me to be critical because someone put their time into it and whatever else. And I
appreciate the creative endeavor.
Yeah, and I understand that too. And I feel that way.
Paula.
I feel that way as well.
I'm Paula. You're just as good as how you are, sweetheart.
There needs to be more booze in that Coke cup.
Paula.
But I feel that way as well. And
I wish I knew any Paula songs.
And I'll take it all in. But I think that's kind of an indicator of mass culture as a whole. Is people will read a headline, and that's their news.
Yeah.
I read the headline. Oh, this happened. They don't read the article, and then some people read the first paragraph or two of the article, and then that's it, right? I mean, who picks up a magazine? Magazine is a loose term.
A zine?
Not even a zine.
A glossy?
Like an actual magazine.
A glossy? Is that the term for like a real magazine? Because I'm so behind the term.
Unless you would say that the National Enquirer is a magazine.
There's hardly articles anymore.
Unless it's about who's got the worst cellulite.
Let's say National Geographic, which actually has in-depth articles.
Right.
I would just argue how many people are going beyond the TMZ bit and actually reading an in-depth article. And then they're going, oh, that's interesting, I want to learn more. And then they read more. And then they look at opposing articles, et cetera, and so on. Most people don't do that. Well, I'm interested in watching the entire film. I'm interested in listening to the entire album. I'm interested in reading the entire article. I'm not going to be able to sit here and have a conversation with you guys if I just go, oh yeah, I skimmed this bullshit. And then
if it's something we're talking about. But if I picked something to watch, and I'll give it a fighting chance. But if halfway or 3/4 of the way through I'm so bored and it doesn't have my attention and it's just garbage, I'll be like, well, I could finish this, but I don't really want to.
But I want to talk to you about how much I hated it and why I hated it. Maggie, you really shouldn't have snorted all that Coke before we started recording.
I needed to be awake, and it did not pan out.
She's crashing.
Yeah,
she's crashing.
I really am. We need to pick more sugar.
In conclusion, everybody loved Come Now Sleep.
Oh, we're doing an in conclusion.
Everybody loved The Fantastic Fear of Everything, and everybody loved Cheetos, cheddar, and jalapeno.
Hologram program deactivated.